Hi everyone, in this video we're going to discuss more system changes to Street Fighter V Season 2 that's hopefully coming with Akuma on December 20th. So keep in mind guys that a lot of this is coming from feedback on Reddit, on Twitter, from all the people that attend the PSX event and are able to test this themselves. So keep in mind that some of this might not be true or tested incorrectly, or we'll have even more changes. We just don't have the official notes yet because Capcom hasn't posted it. So yeah, bear with me here. So first off, we will have less input delay. Less input delay, this is one of the most requested things to come in Street Fighter V. A lot of people hate the whole A-frame thing. People are not able to react to things as fast as they want to because of this. The whole point of this in the first place was Capcom wanted the offline and the online experience to be very similar. So it would even the playing field, so to speak. But the problem is people just don't like that. They want offline play to be as responsive as it possibly can. So anyway, Street Fighter V started off with around 8-frame input delay on the PS4 version. The PC version was just a little bit faster because of you can turn off the vertical sync. And then also there was legacy controls they could use on the PS4, which lowered it as well, which is really weird. Anyways, fast forward to today. Today we had a recent update not too long ago that brought the input delay to around 6.2 frame input delay, and that's right now. And now Xian posted on Twitter that he talked to some of the devs and they said that they're going to lower the frame delay down to 4 frames. But this is not the official list, so only time will tell if this is true. But if they do reduce it down to 4 frame input delay, that would be absolutely insane. Really short. And if I put in perspective, Ultra Street Fighter 4 was around 4.3 frames input delay. So if they do this to 4 frames, there'll be no more excuses, for sure. So keep in mind guys, once again, this mainly affects offline play. If you're an online warrior, you won't really see much of a difference even when they do put this in. Because of the rollback and the way the netcode works, you're still going to have input delay no matter what you do. But for offline play, it'll be really exciting for those players and the pro players alike. So how does this affect the game? Well, many things will become weaker. One of the biggest things would be overheads. Overheads are already quite slow in this game, but to lower the input delay would make overheads even weaker. It'll be much easier to react to and block up, and overheads, a lot of overheads in this game are punishable, and so yeah, overheads overall become weaker. Command dash cancels will be weaker. Characters like Laura, characters like Karen, who try to cancel normals to command dashes, or even Ken, who cancels into his run. All these are unsafe to begin with. You simply just have to react to it and you can stop it and you'll get a guaranteed counter hit on top of that. Those will be weaker because now the input delay is lower. So it'll be much riskier. Of course, we're all human. You'll still be able to get away with these things, just not abusable, basically, like it was before. And jumping in general will be more difficult. You have more time to react and do your anti-airs. So just jumping in general. Whiff punishing should be easier. One of the biggest things people are complaining about, there's a lot of reactive pro players that want to play a very methodical way where they like to whiff punish normals and then go in, for example. And yeah, just reacting in general. Like stopping people from dashing in, or just anything that can be reacted to is just going to be easier with this input delay. You guys get the idea. Alright, the other big change. White life regeneration rate has been significantly slowed down. And I mean significantly, guys. It's really slow. This is a pretty insane change. You guys can just see for yourselves how slow it is. It will make white life extremely dangerous because it will simply just take too long to regenerate by playing passive. Basically, players, when they were trying to get away, like regenerate their white life, they just jump backwards or start trying to zone and stuff. But now it will just take too long to fully regenerate it if you built a lot up. The only way to really get rid of it in a practical match, in a practical way, is to go on the offensive and just take control of the match, knock down your opponent, and actually land hits, and then just let it regenerate. You know, while your opponent is just too overwhelmed, he can't attack you, right? That's the only real way you're gonna regenerate it, unless your opponent is just completely fallen asleep and not doing anything to stop you. So what are the pros of this change to make white life regenerate so damn slowly? Well, for one, the offensive players could be just a little bit more patient. I know that sounds kind of weird, but For example, if you're on the offense and you built up a lot of gray or a lot of white life on your opponent, and then you really want to cash out on it and it starts regenerating, well, before you kind of feel like obligated to really overcommit and go in just so you can get rid of it, and it kind of leads you into like a false set of play where you'll overcommit and you'll get anti-air or something and it'll all fall apart. But now you can be a little bit more patient and careful and still have more than enough time to cash out on that white life that you built up for your opponent. So just, yeah, that's one pro of it. Another thing is it discourages turtling. It makes your opponents eventually have to advance. They can block all day, but eventually they have to go in because, like I said, you can't dodge it forever. It just regenerates too damn slowly now. So what are the cons of this? Well, one con that I can think of is that strong defense is weaker. Basically, it's less rewarding to have a strong defense, which is kind of strange too when you think about it. But as a player, if you successfully block your opponent, his overheads, his lows, his cross-ups and stuff, why should you be punished for that? You know? So that's another way of thinking about it, and that's the only thing I can think of a con right off the top of my head. Characters that will change greatly from this, I think, for the weaker side, I think Birdie would have troubles with this one. This would hurt Birdie a little bit because he has a lot of armor attacks that he relies on. The EX Bullhorn, when he uses V-Trigger in general. His Bullhead has armor. His forward hard punch has armor. Even like Birdie players used to like go forward hard punch on the fireballs just to build up armor, to build up V-Gauge, and then regenerate that white life, but now it's just too slow. And if Birdie builds up a lot of white life, then he has troubles getting in on his opponent to get on the offensive to stop him from attacking him in the first place. Zangief, his V-skill, one of the biggest complaints I've had about Zangief's V-skill is that it just builds up way too much white life. Way too much. And now it's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse, man. Unless, of course, they change some balancing in the patch. I wouldn't be surprised, because seriously, this would make Zangief's V-skill so bad if they keep this in. Keep it the way it's designed right now. And once again, Zangief will have troubles getting in and stopping people from continuing the pressure on him with white life racking up. Characters that will benefit from this greatly would be characters like Dhalsim. His V-trigger is really obvious. I think his V-trigger is one of the worst. It's terrible. But building up this kind of white, well, it's not white damage, but it works in a similar sense. This will be really strong for him if it works that way, and you can really take advantage of the damage and not just use it for V reversal all the time. And this would go for Fang too if his poison kind of works the same way as well. Bison, man, he's one of the biggest characters that racks up white damage in the game, for sure. And that knee pressure is going to be even more insane, especially with the Bison buffs that I've been seeing lately. So Bison will definitely benefit from this, and aggressive characters like Necalli in general will benefit from this. Alright, so on to the next change. Anti-air light attacks are getting nerfed. This is another extremely popular request from both the spectator and the players themselves. People don't like watching the anti-air lights, and the players don't like dealing with it in general, especially when their character can't do it. So we've had many reports from many different players who attended the PSX that claimed that these were definitely not working as well as they used to. Also, in the most recent blog post from Combo Fiend talking about what kind of changes they're looking at, they mentioned one of the key things they're looking into is strong anti-air light attacks. So we know for sure they're changing something with them. Now, why are anti-air light attacks bad, and why do they need to be changed? Well, for one, anti-air light attacks are just simply too easy to do. It's a single button, and because it's a single button, it's a speedy command. It means that if you're in the middle of doing something, for example, on your opponent, let's say you're doing some groundwork, and then you see him jump, and then you're recovering from a normal, it's just boom, press it, right? It's so easy to input it. Another problem with anti-air lights is that they can autocorrect. If your opponent crosses you up, you can just press light punch, right? And if it was like a Shoryuken motion, for example, you have to cross-cut it. You have to input it in a certain way to make it do a reverse, to hit the other side. But if it's just one button, man, it doesn't matter what the side they're on, basically, right? Another thing is the frames themselves. It's too fast. Like, most anti-air lights are 3 or 4 frames in general, so they're just So when you compare them to normals like Alex's crouching hard punch or Bison's crouching hard punch, those are so slow, right? So why not just use standing light, basically? And it just, yeah, it's much faster than anti-air normals are intended to be. So how will this benefit the game? More distinct uses. This goes on the Capcom philosophy that they've been trying to stick with since the beginning, and what we've heard of recently with the meterless invincible reversals. They want light attacks to stay as fast ground attacks that chain, and they want you to rely on the normals they've intended to anti-air, or your specials they intended you to anti-air. They don't want lights to be good anti-airs, good cross-up anti-airs, good for tick throws, good for chains, good for a wake-up attack. They don't like that. They want things that have their more distinct use. That's basically what they want. Everything has its specialty. And so how will they nerf this? Basically, the only way they can nerf this is change the hitbox. The hitbox is the main issue for standing light attacks. Changing the speed, like the frame date of the light attacks, wouldn't make sense because they're light attacks. They need to be fast. So yeah, they're most likely just going to make it so the upper part of the hitbox on the light attacks are just probably really bad. And they'll just flat out get beat by jumping attacks. That's what I'm going to assume. Okay, next up, throws and command throws are nerfed. So we've had many reports again of people saying that throws push the opponent much further back than they used to. It'll knock them way further away from them. This means that you'll not get an easy wake up pressure after throwing your opponent with a normal or a command throw. Keep in mind this also includes command throws. So basically, if you're like Ryu or Ken, you throw them and you're really close to them and you can continue pressure and even throw them again and it just loops, especially in the corner. They don't like that, especially characters that can't do that. I'm looking at you, Jerry. So there are most likely changes to the recovery frames to allow this to be like, I'm sure Capcom doesn't like I said, throw loops in the corner, because a lot of the top tier characters can do this. So for example, if they just change the distance the throws knock you away, that won't be enough, because if you're in the corner it's still going to create the same situation with the throw loops. So I'm sure it's a combination of knocking the opponent away and a combination of them getting up off the ground faster, or you recovering slower to stop these kind of throw loops from happening. The blog specifically says one of the main things they're looking into is recovery after successful throws. So definitely there's some frame data going on. So throws will obviously be less advantageous on hit. Now, what are the pros of this? Well, characters that don't have throw Oki are not at a huge disadvantage. A lot of things that make or break like a top tier character, I'm not joking, is their throw Oki. Throws are such a common thing in this game, and to have Oki, which is basically you're allowing you to have a setup after you throw your opponent, is a huge advantage over the rest of the cast. It's big. And like I said, this also affects command throws, guys, too. So it doesn't mean that grapplers are just going to be insane now. It goes for both. This would also explain the reason they made it so meterless uppercuts or meterless invincible reversals are no longer invincible anymore. Because with the combination of this throw change and still having invincible meterless uppercuts would make the game way too defensive. So it's totally understandable why Capcom did this. I think that Capcom wanted to do this throw change first, and then they're like, wait, hold up a second. Maybe we got to change the invincible DPs as well. I could just in the order of things, it makes the most sense. But these two changes go hand in hand together to make sure the game is not overly defensive and turtley. So yeah, the game would just be too slow. So, reading the blog, back to the blog post, that's pretty much all the things we know right now, guys. But reading the blog post, they said, below are the three areas we're focusing on to give you a better idea of where we will address character similarities. And they said, recovery after successful throws, strong anti-air light attacks, invincible reversal reliance. Basically, they want to give each character a specific tool for every situation. They don't like tools that are just good for a whole bunch of things, especially when other characters don't have these kind of tools. So, in my opinion, guys, this is what they have to do to make this philosophy and this patch successful. First off, recovery after successful throws. To balance throws, each character should have a version of a throw or a command throw that has better Oki than damage. I'm not saying give characters a throw that gives Oki, just better. Make it so maybe your back throw is better for this situation than your forward throw, or your air throw is better for this kind of situation, or your command throw, maybe the EX version of your command throw is better for Oki than this, but maybe less damage. That's what I'm trying to say. Give the throws their own unique properties as well. Now, strong anti-air light attacks. To balance anti-air lights, they need to make the intended anti-airs more effective, of course. If they're going to take out our anti-air light attacks, they got to make sure that our normal anti-air light attacks are actually working. I can't count the million amount of times I used my normal anti-air and it just got outright beat up because of the wonky hitboxes, either on the anti-air itself or the opponent's jumping attack, like Ryu's jumping light kick, for example. They gotta make some of these faster too, man. Alex's crouching hard punch, Bison's crouching hard punch. There are anti-airs, definitely anti-air normals. They're just bad hitbox and speed. So they have to bring those up to par if they want this to be successful. And the third thing, invincible reversal reliance. To balance reversal reliance, they need to give characters better defensive tools in general. And one of the biggest things I think they should do is buffing V reversals, since that's what they're intended for. You are spending a part of your V gauge, which is really important in this game, to get the opponent off of you. And I think a lot of V reversals in this game just straight up suck. Some of them are just bad. And they need to relook at this mechanic, and they need to buff it if they're going to take away meterless invincibles and other options that we had before. So yeah, if Capcom looks at these three things, I think that the patch will be successful and follow their philosophy for the game. So yeah, guys, we'll see if they have any more things that they're going to change for the core system. And I'll be making a future video, guys, touching up on the character balance changes that we've been hearing. And I'm looking forward to Capcom's official post so we can hear concrete exactly what is changing. Let me know in the comments below, guys, on what you guys think they should change the game and how you guys are liking the direction they're going right now. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, and take care.